speaking of South America, let's move on to Peru, where the country is in turmoil right now.
They did their own little attempt at January 6th.
There are some parallels because actually the president who was ousted yesterday in a majority vote, it was like 101 out of 130 members. He basically said this was a coup by investigations. He was like, this is a new kind of coup. And that, we were talking before the show started, I was like, that's pretty interesting because you see that really happening in the weaponization of special counsels now that's at a rate that seems incredible. And you could maybe go back to Whitewater. You could probably go to Watergate and say something like that. But I think we're at a different level here. And obviously it's not apples to apples, but that is one of the more interesting elements of this story is the president who was elected in that pink wave that got a decent chunk of media attention here in the United States, had been up to a lot of reforms. He increased minimum wage and tried to do all kinds of different things in Peru, was ousted by a majority vote yesterday amid all of these investigations into allegations of corruption, helping family members, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so this is Pedro Castillo, who was a poor campesino, still to this day has, or as of yesterday, still had roughly the same approval rating out in the countryside in Peru. He had lost a couple points, but not many. It was in the cities. Where his support really collapsed. South America has the kind of reverse left-right axis as we do here in Bolivia, for instance. The support for Evo Morales and his party and the new president Luis Arce all comes from the countryside. Whereas the wealthier cities are the right-wing elements, whereas we kind of have reversed that in a way here in Europe and in some other industrialized Western countries. So Pedro Castillo, though, was a populist more than he was kind of an old school leftist. And if you're going to be a populist, you also have to be able to govern. And the problem with populism is sometimes you get a genuinely authentic populist, and what that can sometimes mean is that they have an enormous number of grifters kind of attached to them. And his family and his inner circle were, in fact, now, every government is corrupt to some degree or another. The public has less appetite, maybe ironically or paradoxically, for the type of petty corruption that actually kind of ends up hurting the population, the public less, but is more obvious and in your face. If you are corrupt in the American way, where you've got lobbyists who are pushing for trillion-dollar weapons systems, or multi-billion-dollar weapon systems that don't work within a $1 trillion Pentagon budget that can't be audited, that is going to cause a lot more pain for the local population, the Americans, and also then around the world when they have to be used so that they can go make new ones. But that's kind of the legalized corruption on a mass scale. It's when somebody gets caught with like $50,000 of cash in their freezer, right, that people really lose their minds.
Or handouts to their family, like you said, like really obvious, not convoluted, just clear-cut personal corruption.
And like his daughter got caught in one of those petty corruption scandals. Police came to arrest her in the palace. She was able to escape out of the palace. And then Castillo was like, real shame. We lost all of the surveillance equipment and we have no idea where her daughter is. It was like just clownish levels of things. But it is true that the right wing was like investigating him for the purpose of ousting him. This was the third impeachment vote. They had come after him twice already. It is also true that in Brazil, Dilma Rousseff was the victim of basically a right-wing coup through the kind of judicial and legislative / impeachment process. These things are all true. Castillo, though, was kind of guilty. But like I said, everybody's guilty. Anyway, so he goes on the air and he's like, look, we're suspending the government. Right. We're declaring an emergency government. I'm dictating, these are the things that I'm dictating. Use the word dictate.
He's trying to get rid of the Constitution. Right.
He's going to have a new Constitution. They're going to draw it together. And it was about as effective as Trump's effort on Truth Social to suspend the Constitution. And the cops arrested him by the end of the day.
He was replaced by Dina Boluarte, Peru's first female president. So girl boss win there.
There you go.
I'm kidding. I'm being glib. But yeah.
From a Marxist party. So maybe now her problem is that she doesn't have any mandate.
That's right. There's this huge question of whether she has any ability to govern whatsoever. The sixth president.
Did we put up A1 here?
In less than 5 years.
Again, we did not cross the digital picket line to grab this image. We grabbed it before the picket line was put up.
So the sixth president of Peru in under 5 years. I mean, just a stunning sense of turmoil in the Peruvian government. It's hard for anybody to find a way to calm that, let alone somebody who comes in without any clear sort of mandate in the legislative body.
Yeah, so we'll see where this goes from here.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.